congratulations on such an amazing response to the trailer. And I mean, it looks truly amazing, dark, unsettling, and it looks everything that's in the book for horror.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So, starting off, I would want to know that we know that this character, she's carrying a baby, and she had to leave her city home and go to a secluded village. But apart from that, what are the other things that define this character? What are her vulnerabilities or her greatest fear? If you could please tell us.
For me, Sakshi is one of those characters who is just so happy with her life. She's so content with her life. She likes that small world that she's made and she lives in. And which is why when the disruption happens, she doesn't know what to do, and the audience feels that pain that she feels. That यार वो अपनी छोटी सी जिंदगी में कितनी content और कितनी happy चल रही थी, ये क्यों हुआ उसके साथ? Why was it disrupted so badly? And why is she suffering like this? And why is she put in this place? तो वो emotion for audiences and Sakshi is there from the first word itself. मतलब आपको पहले से ही समझ आ जाता है कि इसके साथ ये क्यों हो रहा है, वो एक emotional connect आ जाता है. So vulnerability, yes. She's very happy and content too. Also, she knows herself very well. She's very clear about what her rights and wrongs are. And she doesn't need to stand up and scream them, but she lives by them. She practices them in her life. For me, that was Sakshi's strength right there. Strength doesn't really come in how you fight back or what you give back or what you say. I think strength for me in Sakshi comes from what she stands for, the ground that she stands on and says, but no, I think this. Say it as simply as this and it has the strength that it has. It can shut 4 people up in a room. So that was Sakshi for me, where she had her sense, she knew her world, she knew who she was, but yet she looked like a person who would blend and fit into everybody's life.
Yes.
Like she was that perfect wife, girl next door, or a woman who would bring everybody together and live for everybody. But when she then stands her ground, you realize that no, wait, she's her own person. No, she's not going to do what the husband says or what this lady says or what that man says. She is doing what she truly believes and stands for. So wo strength was her fighting spirit then. Mm-hmm. Coupled with the fact that she's a mother and her main survival instinct is for her child more than for herself. And that aspect of any woman, which is motherhood, is so magical and so unpredictable. कि कुछ भी हो सकता है उसमें. You can't put anything past a mother, right? Like she would go to any lengths for her child. And that was her second strength. Which is why for me, these two things are the pillars on which this story works as Sakshi going through this and surviving this or finding a way through this. But these two things. But that's all she needed. She didn't need anything else. Which is in itself very empowering a thought. यार आपको और कुछ चाहिए नहीं होता है.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
True. And moving further, working in a supernatural or a horror film, it can get mentally draining at times because human brain is as such. It's a collection of nerve impulses and chemicals, the hormones, and it starts picturing the way depending on the stimulus or the surroundings that are there. For a film like Chhorii, wherein things get pretty dark, you're training your mind in a certain way to work in a particular direction. Imagining things that do not necessarily exist and then deriving the ordeal out of it. So were there any moments during the filming that left you deeply troubled, or like was it difficult to come back to your natural habitat, to the natural world after doing Chhorii?
Very difficult. And they physically, though I was drained only. Physically, I used to be dead, literally, at the end of the shoot. But I think it took a toll on me more emotionally. And there were twice, I think I broke down on set and I couldn't stop crying. And they had to just hold me down and say, okay, finish crying. But that happens, yeah. I don't think you become a character to take on their emotions, to take on their story and take on their journey. So you can't do that without taking the emotional baggage on itself, which is terrible because you already have your own baggages and you are taking on other emotions. But there's no escaping it. There is no way out of it. And like my director said this to me when I cried those 2 times, he said, you've bled your soul into this film. Like you legit have bled into this film. And whatever happens, from good, bad, whatever happens, your soul will still remain a part of this film. And that is so true. It's so true, I can't tell you. When I saw rushes of the film, when I saw cuts of the film, I was taken back to that emotion. I was like, that's what I felt at that time, and that's what was happening. It was making me get up from my seat and like, just 1 second, I can't. Like, so yeah, it took a while. I couldn't do anything when I came back from Chhorii shoot for a month, and nobody in my house or my world could understand why she's not doing anything. I would just be at home, chill, be in bed, do literally nothing all day, because I had to come back to zero. So yeah, that.
And a pregnant lady in the setup of horror or supernatural. This one line, it's creepy, unsettling, and eerie to another level.
Correct.
While there's a life inside her whom she wants to protect, the surroundings around her are as such, wherein things get pretty dark, and there's a supernatural force which is hell bent on taking lives. How do you see this dichotomy, of a life inside and someone hell bent on taking the life of people?
I think that's what the entire film hinges on. You've just said it exactly right. This is what Vishal sir used to say, and we wondered if the audiences would get it, but you get it, so I'm very happy. But that's actually what gets a person through. I think in the dark times, if you don't have a sense of life or a sense of protecting one's own life, whether it's their own life or their child's life, you will not survive that dark time. You will go down the dark drain. And I feel the fact that there was that life in her, within her, is what gave her the, not just strength, but was her win over evil.
Yeah.
Was her win over evil. Evil could not do anything to her precisely on that same concept of life inside her. So this dichotomy is purely the reason why this film works on a larger scale, because that's what do we do? Diwali, Dussehra pe yahi to hum karte hain. It's good over evil, right? This is life over dark.
Whenever we set off on a new journey, when we venture into new territories, there's of course there's a lot of excitement, but there's also a lot of uncertainty also. Things, they may work or they may not work. It's for the time to tell. So when you set off, when you embarked on the journey of doing Chhorii, what was it like for you? Were you a bundle of nerves, or what thoughts were clouding your mind at that point?
I think the only nervousness for me was if I'm going to get this character right. And that happens in the first 5 days of shoot, where you know whether you've set on the right sur, you've got her correctly, you're able to depict her correctly. मैं क्या वो बन गई हूँ या नहीं, वो पहले 5 दिनों शूटिंग से मैं पागल होती हूँ. मैं हर इंसान से पूछती हूँ क्या था क्या था क्या था क्या था क्या था. I need to get like a feedback of everybody who's seen it to tell me whether they see me as Sakshi or they don't. And I take those 5-7 days to kind of go back and recorrect it, or like switch it back or push it ahead. After those 5 days, when I'm sure that I've got her and I know exactly what emotion to play her on or what characteristics to play her on, then I'm fine. Then I'm not scared. Then the rest of it I leave on the director. मैंने कहा आप stress लो, आप stress दो, मैं कुछ ले नहीं रही हूँ, मैं कुछ दे नहीं रही हूँ. मैं सिर्फ acting करके घर जाऊँगी. So that's the only nervousness that I have. Whether the film is going to do well, not, accepted, not, there are too many factors here. And I've always said this. I, as an actor, or even filmmakers, or even producers, I don't think beyond a point it's in anybody's control.
Yeah.
A film has its own destiny, it has its own life. It'll either do very well or it won't do well now, and 20 years later, like, Jaane Bhi To Jaaye, we'll all be talking about it. Andaz Apna Apna become iconic, but it was a flop then.
Yeah.
I can't understand how, but it was. So these things happen, and there is no formula to it. There is no logic to it. So might as well just leave it. The world will decide when they'll decide. So, yeah.
And I'm tempted to ask this one last thing, that you spoke about the feedback. Now feedback for any artist, it's very important. Because it sets the roadmap ahead to the place where you wish to reach.
Correct.
But one may not follow every feedback that they're bounced upon. So what's your filtration process for to get the right feedbacks?
It's very true, actually. For the longest time, and even up till now, till Ajeeb Dastan, I don't think I've read a lot of reviews. I've just not been someone who can read what's written about me. Whether it's good or bad, I've just not been able to read it. I don't know. I feel like, oh, they're talking about me. And then I go into a shell. I said, no, I don't want to know what you're talking about me. I don't know why. I'm just conscious like that. So because I've not heard too many people say things to me, I don't think they're in my head. So the only people whose advice or feedback I have heard are people around me, my other directors, other people as co-actors in the industry, or friends who
Mhm.
who want to give me a feedback, and then they call me and they tell me, and I hear them. I let that stay with me. I think about what I can do with that feedback. I
Mhm.
think about whether what they said was that something I could have done when I was shooting the film. Like, for example, if they say your look was not right, for example, so I'm
Mhm.
thinking, what could I have done for the look to be right for this person, right?
Mhm.
And then I think about it, and if I come to an answer, I'm like, there's nothing more I could have done. When I know that there's nothing more I could have done, because there is a director, there is a producer, there's a stylist, they all also do things. So
Yeah.
when it is not completely in my hands, I let that feedback go. I said, okay,
Mhm.
ठीक है. I
Mhm.
respect it. Okay, bye. It's going. So if I can't take it and I can't put it in practical use, then I just let it go. That.
Oh, okay. So with that, we have reached the end of this conversation. I would like to know if there's some question that I may have missed asking or something that you would have loved to talk about. So please feel free to talk about it.
Is there anything I've missed, guys? Anything we should add? No, right? I'm sure you'll ask me more questions after the film is released, right? We'll do another round of interviews. So
Sure,
that time
sure.
you remember and ask me right now when I don't know. Yeah.
Cool, cool.
Okay.
So on that note, thank you so much for talking to us,
Thank you so
Nushrratt.
much.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah,
Thanks,
please
Alex.
take care and all the best for the film.
Subscribe to our channel. Just click on the bell icon for all the latest updates.